Good morning. I'm going to take just a few minutes, hopefully, and go over a few things from back to school night for those of you that were not able to be there. This is for honors chemistry, and there are some significant things I want to make sure everybody's aware of, mostly in relation to our remote weeks and those kind of happenings. So I'm not going to go over everything in the syllabus. I expect you to read the syllabus. I expect that if you have questions about the syllabus, you're going to reach out to me. Okay, that's the first thing. Because if you've read it all, I don't need to say it all again. So please make sure that you actually read the syllabus. You need to sign the last page, and your parent needs to sign the last page as well. Make sure you do that before class on Tuesday. You do have assignments due on Tuesday. So if you haven't started those, you probably want to get on those. You should have joined the class by now in Schoology. And once you've joined the class, you're going to be able to go to the materials section. And under the materials section, there is a general info folder, honors chem, it says on chem, gen info, something like that. And that's got the syllabus in it. It's got the lab schedule in it. It's got a pre-lab formatting, a formal lab formatting. It's got all kinds of things that don't align with one particular chapter. So that's all in the general info folder. So you're going to want to peruse those, but the syllabus is the main thing for next Tuesday that I want you to read through, and then obviously your assignments that are due next Tuesday. In order to access your assignments, what you're going to do is you're going to go to chapter 1. So we have this general info folder. Everything else is going to be organized in Schoology by chapter. So if you go to chapter 1, you're going to find a page that says something to the effect of on chem homework due 8/18, something like that. So you're going to click on that, and that's going to give you all of your assignments for next Tuesday. You should be able to knock those out in an hour and a half or 2 hours at most. That's including the reading. So you do have some reading to do. You do have some problems to answer. In all of my courses, you are going to read the material before I lecture on it, and you're going to do problems before I lecture on the concepts. For that reason, all of your homework grades are based entirely on you completing the homework and not getting it correct. So if you do the homework and you have 7 answers and you have 7 answers that are incorrect, you will get 100%. The point is, I want you to wrestle with the material before you get to class. Then when you get to class, I'm going to help clarify the concepts. If you have questions in the week while you're reading, by all means, reach out to me. I'll be happy to try and clarify any questions that you have. Okay, so, but you're going to do the reading, do the problems before we meet for class. That is how it's going to go all year long. Okay, one thing that the biggest thing probably that I want to talk about in this meeting is that I feel like honors chemistry, because of the pace at which we move through the book, because of the abstractness of some of the concepts in chemistry, is probably the one that I was most concerned about doing half capacity. Because when I want you guys to be able to ask questions. And I feel like if half the class is always remote, that's going to be really challenging. So Sally, by her abundant grace and goodness, was able to work out the numbers so that we will all be live one week and all be remote the next week. So next Tuesday is an all remote week. What I have decided to do, this is my plan, we'll see how it works out. If we have problems with this, then we'll switch to just the normal kind of remote idea. But my idea is that I am going to be at my house from 8 to like 9:15 on our remote weeks. There are 7 people in class. There are 3 people that live within about a mile of my house, and there's a fourth of the seven people that lives pretty close. So I'm going to offer that anyone who wants to can come to my house and sit and get a live lecture. Okay. If you live far away, but you still want to come, you're welcome to. If it's easier for you to just remote in via Zoom, that's fine as well. But what my hope was then that every other week we would all be together. It'd be easier to address questions, and that would just be a more holistic way to manage this particular class. Excuse me. So that is my plan. So next Tuesday, you will be given a Zoom meeting ID. You're going to click the link. It's going to be the same link every time we're remote. Okay. And then we'll be at my house. I'll do some lecturing. I'll do some problems on the board, and then we'll cut out. Now, because of the fact that I've got to drive to Shine for my second period class, on that remote week, we may cut out a few minutes early. And there might be 1 problem that we wouldn't get through or 2 problems that we wouldn't get through. I will be working to post those problems via a YouTube video for you to watch, okay? So my hope is that on the remote weeks, I really would like you to be live at the scheduled class time. The reason for that is if you have questions, I want you to be able to ask them during the lecture time. It is much trickier when you watch and then you have a question, then you have to reach out to me to ask your question, and then I have to get back to you. So my preference is that on the remote weeks, you are tuning in at the scheduled class time, okay? The other thing is that because of that and me needing to get to shine for my second period class, that meeting will be a little bit shorter than usual. If we get to the point where we feel like, man, we really would like to have the full or a little more time, we could back up, because nobody's driving anywhere, we could back up our start time a few minutes, and I would be open to that if we feel like we need that, okay? So that's the plan. We'll try it next Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. If we have issues seeing the board, I have a whiteboard at my house, we will address that. I will be posting some videos that will show worked out solutions for some of the problems. So hopefully if you don't have a great view of my whiteboard, that will be helpful to you to just be able to watch the worked out solutions that I have, and you can use that as your sessions of working through problems, okay? Let's see. That's kind of the big things. We still are going to have labs on Thursdays, not at my house this year, because I want us to be able to spread out. So I have a sweet friend who has offered us to use their barn out on Petty Lane. So that's where we will be holding labs on the days that we have labs. And that will be at 1 o'clock on those days. Okay, so the lab schedule is already up. If you work part-time, you're going to need to talk to your boss and get those Thursdays off. I work very hard to not have to ever move the lab dates. Not that it couldn't happen, but I am very focused and prioritize the dates we've already set for labs, okay? So just know those dates, my expectation is that you are at labs at the barn, and the address for the barn is on the lab schedule. So I think those are the main things I want to make sure that you know. So those of you that are remote on our remote days, you will just take your assignments, your worked out solutions, and you'll hold them up to the screen just like that, one at a time, so I can look at them and see that you have completed your homework. Because again, that homework grade is totally based on completing it. So I'm gonna need to see your assignments to see that you have done it, okay? If we have issues with the remote feed, I'll have you scan it and attach it, but I'm comfortable with just looking at your work via screen and making sure you've done it. So that's my plan. If you have questions during the week, I want you to reach out. So my expectations that you're spending about an hour to potentially an hour and a half, 4 days a week. So 4 to 6 hours on this material, 4 days a week is a normal expectation for this class. Okay, so just know that you're going to need to spend the time working on it. I don't recommend you wait until Monday to try and do all of your chemistry homework. It's going to creep up on you. And here's the thing about chemistry builds. So all the concepts are building on each other. Everything you learn from one chapter, I expect you to apply in the next chapter. So just know that if there's things you're like, I don't really get that, but it's okay, we're going to do something else. That's not really the case in chemistry. You need to understand what you're doing. So if you don't understand, that's your opportunity to reach out to me and ask questions, okay? And I'm happy to clarify. That's why I'm here. Okay, what else? Tests are typically due on Thursday nights. The reason for that is that I figure if we finish a test on a Tuesday, that gives you a day and a half to study. And that way, when you're done on Thursday night, you can for sure jump into the next half of the chapter, okay, by Friday, and that gives you at least 2 full days. Some people, when they're done on Tuesday, they're ready to take the test on Wednesday. If you do that, then you've got Thursday, Friday, and Monday to do the next chapter. So I don't have the test due super late in the week when we have finished a chapter. You will scan and send your test to me via email. You're also welcome to drop your tests in my mailbox. A lot of people like to do that. It's just whatever you prefer. On the weeks if we have a test and the next week is a remote week, then just know that I will return the test. I'll probably grade your tests, scan them, and then just email them or post them to you via Schoology. So you'll be able to look over it in our remote session if we're remote. And if we're in class, then I'll just hand them back to you. That's easier. One other thing real quick. If you are not used to showing all of your work on a math problem, that is going to be a difficulty. It's not going to work well. You've got to show me all your work, because these are multiple step problems you'll be doing, not in the first chapter. Well, no, there's some in the first chapter. There's multiple step problems. And so I'm looking to see, did you understand the process? Not just, did you get the right answer? So if you're not used to doing that, I'm telling you now, you're going to need to make that change. So I'm excited to be with you every other week. I'm live, and I'm excited to be with you remote. I really think that there are good things ahead this year. It's going to be bumpy. Parents and students, I want your feedback on our remote weeks. I know it's not going to be perfect, and I know I'm not going to do everything in the best possible scenario right off the bat. So if you have constructive feedback, I would love to hear that, okay? And know that it's not going to hurt my feelings. So I want to make this as best we can. It's going to be challenging in some areas, and we're just learning to roll with that. We have been at Lifehouse, which is where I go to church. We've been studying through the book of 2 Corinthians, and I have been made so abundantly aware of the reality that I don't have what it takes to make this work. I really don't. It's craziness out. Our world is crazy right now. And we don't have all the things at our fingertips that we usually have. We can't meet in person every week right now, right? But I'm looking real quick to read you a verse out of 2 Corinthians 12. This is 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. It says, and this is when Paul's talking about the thorn in the flesh. So some kind of a difficulty, we don't know what it was, but here's what God said to Paul. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And then Paul says, therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so the power of Christ may rest upon me. So this year, I have abundant weaknesses. It's clear to me. And I'm grateful that God is going to show up and do good things in the midst of the difficulties that will give him glory and will also bring good things into our lives. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at 8 o'clock next Tuesday for our first remote class. If you have any questions between now and then, please feel free to reach out. Look forward to seeing you all then. Bye.